succeeds because they know their opponent's going Void Ray. That's actually sometimes a really huge danger to fall into. Hold on, I just have to crack my neck. Oh man, that was very rewarding there. Um, yeah, looks at me. I'm just gonna crack every part of my body, just like you, just sort of get that out of the way, just loosen my joints up. Because again, been awake for 36 and a half hours right now. So, whew, baby. But you know what? Day 9 daily will always prevail. But let's say you're a struggling little Terran player and you've been having an issue against Void Rays. So what do? You say to your friend, dude, I need you to go Void Ray every single game, and they'll devise a style of play that wins just because they're assuming their opponent's going Void Ray. So for instance, they'll just sort of, oh gee, look, I'll just get a Viking up. Okay, cool. And I want you to note that that Viking that Terran got saved him and did some great work in just sort of negating that harass. However, what if there was some sort of 4 warp gate push coming instead? Well, there would have been a Banshee that would have been out right away with Cloak, and there was a bunker at the ramp, and there was a Hellion out. Well, what about if he was going for some sort of Immortal push? That might actually be the biggest concern, is that the Immortals would be able to run up the ramp, and you would have detection. That's probably the big thing I'm thinking about. But since I have Marines in a bunker, I should be okay, and given my ramp, I can use my Banshee to micro. Well, what about if my opponent early expands? What if he does some sort of 2 gateway into Expo? Again, he's a little bit behind on his robotics facility, so he has trouble with the cloak. Same way if he went for some sort of Dark Templar rush. He's behind on the robo. He needs some way to deal with the cloak. And all these things... Oh yeah, and even note that if your opponent does go Dark Templar, you already have the Tech Lab up, so you can get the Raven. Notice how I'm seeing the success that this build had against Void Rays and went, great, what about everything else, and trying to just not so much justify this style of play, but have a plan in each of these situations. So for instance, let's take that last one I said, the Dark Templar situation. I said, okay, against Void Rays, I have a game where I won. Check. Okay, this is what I'm going to do against 4-gate, this is what I'm going to do against a fast robo, this is what I'm going to do against DTs. And against DTs, I'm just going to get my Raven a little bit faster if I see that he's going for some kind of DT opening. Let's say for some reason that I was able to get the Raven up in time, but I just didn't have enough units. Then I need to make more adjustments to my build, like say add more Hellions in earlier on. And then once I've done that, I get my friend, I say, okay, go Dark Templar against me. And then I have the Hellions and the Raven up. Cool, I can hold the DT. And then I go, now, do I have enough money to get that Viking up if he's going Void Ray? And then you sort of go back and check the other things that you adjusted against. And just, again, keep all these sorts of topics on the brain. And you'll end up improving a lot faster, because just know how important it is to have a rudimentary plan. Nothing overly complicated, nothing huge until you have to get into some really nitty-gritty details against tip-top players who are stretching every little bit that they can. Just have something like, against, 4 warp gates, I'm going to do blah. And that's why I think it's very useful to download a lot of replays, just to examine as much as you can of other styles, so you know. Because right now, the thing that I've been struggling with is, how do I deal with these players who are in fact getting this sort of funky one of each unit-producing structure style openings. So I'm just going to go ahead and log on to my junk email here, so that way we can pop right into Game 2. You're probably wondering why I'm typing so slowly. It's because I'm not good at typing and talking at the same time. So we're going to go right into Game 2. Hopefully I can end up logging into my account. Yeah, there we go. I'm delighted to accept your end-user license agreement. Oh, that's me, Conspirator, logging on. And here we go, bouncing right into Game 2. So, here comes the next game. It is going to be on Desert Oasis. So, we're going to do the same sorts of junk that we did last time. We're just going to sort of think, what would be a good way to deal with all the possibilities of this going on? Void Rays, obviously going to be something that we want to think about. Obviously something that we want to be concerned about in some regard. But at the same time, Desert Oasis is one of these maps where there might be some more different-ish strategies. So, for instance, you might say something like, wow, yeah, there are players who go one Stargate, just hide their Stargate at the top of their base, and then expand right away. Or players who go for a fast Robo and Colossus Rush. And it's really strong because it's so hard for me as Terran to get all the way over to his base because the rush distances are enormous. There are map-specific styles. So again, there's nothing that big of a deal in terms of adjusting you need to do. You just say, oh, okay, so I'm going to open up with this build, and we're going to see how it ends up working out. And these are the following plans that I have against them. So next, building his supply depot here. Not going for any sort of wall off, but I would assume he is going to, like building a barracks here and building a factory here, and using those unit-producing structures to wall off, because you can. Just building the supply depot as soon as he can. And that's actually a very useful thing to note for new players. Whenever you have an SCV, like let's say you wanted to build the supply depot here in the first place, and you select the SCV at around 80 food, and then you send it out, and that way, when you get here, you have 100 minerals, and then you build the supply depot. By the way, I said 80 food, I meant to say 80 minerals. So you have 80 minerals, you send your worker out. Notice how he's sending this one early. So see, right when he gets 150 minerals, he builds the barracks. I think everyone knows this to be true. However, it's so important, like, let's say Nex wanted to build a depot right here. A lot of times new players will select an SCV, they'll send it, the SCV will be moving along, and then they'll get the SCV will be right about here, and that's when the Terran player gets 100 minerals, and he then says, build supply depot here. And then the SCV is traveling from this location all the way up to this location before he starts building. The general rule is always build directly underneath the SCV. If this SCV is heading this way and you get 100 minerals and the SCV is here, just hit build supply depot and bam, build the supply depot right there. Very, very, very important, essential way to really improve just the overall seamlessness of your openings. Look at Nex bringing 2 SCVs off. You know, oh god, he needs to kill that probe. This probe might be controlled by Viral Rush, who also I believe has a stream set up, so you can happily tune into him and watch him just killing off all my workers. Because there was this one night where I just got paired against him like 7 times in a row, and he just kept killing my workers, and it stung into my very essence. And of course, again, notice the very, very early Cybernetics core before second pylon. I think that's reasonable on this map. And oh my god, Nex, are you going to be doing a gas steal? Is it just going to be doing a little gas steal, Aruha? That's okay. I'm sort of reasonably fine with that. The sort of gas exchange, just because they obviously cancel out, but still, I prefer to have a little bit more of a plan. I still prefer to stick with my guns. Like if I'm Terran here, I'm just going to happily be going one factory and then getting a command center up really, really quickly with my excess minerals. So Terran has more than enough money to build a factory, and for some reason chooses to build the factory within sight range of the assimilator. Just going, no, look, here's my tech. I mean, I know that assimilators can't scout, so I'm just going to build it right here so you can clearly see an interesting technique employed apparently only by people on the Asia server, because I don't know of anyone else who would ever do that. But Nex figured out a reason to do it, so he's stuck with that. This, I think, is another reasonable tactic by Protoss, keeping this probe out here, just to do a little bit of spotting action. But, you know, the main focus of this is how is Terran going to be abusing this one of each building type of play. He's making a lot of Marines at the start. We can clearly see he's going to be safe from a lot of early pushes. Protoss getting the early Stargate because, hell, why not? Void Rays are awesome. You know, it's so it's so often I make some prediction, and you know there's the way that some people predict games, and then there's the way that Day 9 predicts games. Because when I'm watching a tournament game, you know, let's say I'm casting with someone like DJ Wheat, you know, and he's like, Sean, what do you think we're going to see out of these 2 players on Kulas Ravine? And I say, you know what, DJ Wheat? I guarantee you that this Terran player is going to be doing blah. And I just say, yes, he's going to be doing this, and then he's going to follow it up with that because of this reason, and that is an amazing way to play. And then Terran just doesn't do that, and I go, ugh. You know, so, I mean, that happens to me so much. I get all excited about all these new strategies that are coming out, and then he's just like, no, he's just going to do this same old, you know. But that's one thing that's so nice about this Nex, and this Nex and Snowkiss games. They're being so nice. They're just doing, they're making Void Rays. They're making one of each unit producing structure. You guys, I feel like it's my birthday. So more Hellions being made. How is he going to deal with this little bit of excessive minerals? He's going to be getting a reactor for more Marines. He's going to be getting more Hellions out of the factory. And really, I think I've been undervaluing Hellions as a unit. They're just so awesome. They're just great units. And already look at what he's doing. Look at the way that this rally point's set up. He's obviously going to go cross-map with it. You can also do things like control these Xel'Naga watchtowers with the Hellions. And most importantly, the Hellions just do good damage. They can track down probes. They can do a lot of good zapping action. So just want to throw that out there because